Hola from the west side. It's me, DC, the Purple Diva, and welcome to Not So Random Chat. I hope that everybody is having a good Thursday night, wherever you are. If you are in the West, then you probably, hey Latu, how are you? If you're in the West, specifically in California, then you probably are aware of the unfortunate event of another school shooting happening today in Southern California. And I came on earlier today, and I did talk about it at that time, but I didn't have the full details. So I'm going to kind of go over the stuff now that I have the full details in regards to it. So today in Southern California, in the Santa Clarita area, and this is also the same area that we had a fire in a couple of weeks ago. The tick fire here in Southern California was in that area. Today, a student went to school this morning on his birthday because he turned 16 today and commenced to shooting students. It took him about 16 seconds, 1 second for each year that he had lived, to do that damage. And at the end of that 16 seconds, he shot himself in the head. He just turned 16 today. And 2 other students are deceased. One was a young lady who was the same age as him. The other was a young man who was 14 years old. Hey, Blind Needle. Yeah, there was a school shooting today in Southern California. It was at Saugus High School. And it was a student at the school who did the shooting. Today was his 16th birthday. So what he did for his 16th birthday was shoot up the school. But I do have more information in regards to the possible state of mind of the student. 2 years ago, he lost his father. His father had been, I guess, battling with alcoholism, and he, had been going in and out of rehab, but he was there for his son, but he lost his battle 2 years ago. And they are thinking that may have had something to do with what happened today. But I believe the young lady that he shot was someone he was either dating or was interested in. And apparently she didn't feel the same way. So it wasn't a random shooting. He didn't randomly shoot people at the school, unfortunately. It was deliberate. And also, unfortunately, he shot himself. And although he is still, I believe he is still technically alive, he's brain dead. And this whole situation is really, really, really disheartening to me. This is, ever since the Columbine high school shooting happened in Colorado, I think it was 20 years ago, because when it happened, I was a lot younger. And we weren't even thinking about much less high school for my son. My son is now out of school, but we are a year away from the borderline shootings that also happened here in Southern California. And those shootings happened at the bar on a night that was college kids. So most of the people that were at the bar that night, were like 18, 19. And the shooting today was also with teenagers. And one of the things that I talked about earlier today was the importance of us seriously looking at the mental health of our children. Because the things that most of us dealt with as kids and as high school students is nothing compared to what kids are going through now, because we didn't have social media. There was no Facebook. There was no Twitter. There was no Instagram. There was no Snapchat. There was no TikTok. And shall I go on? But you have kids that today live for likes. And if nobody likes them on their Facebook page, on their Snapchat, or on their Twitter, they're literally ready to kill themselves. Hey, Miss Mahogany. I'm very sad tonight because there was another school shooting here in Southern California. And the young man was just making his 16th birthday. He did this on his birthday. Apparently, he did kind of put some types of messages or whatever out there. So there was a little bit of a warning through social media, but it wasn't enough for them to feel that they should close the school or anything. And he immediately did it. This literally happened at 7:30 this morning here in Southern California. So today here in California, we heard nothing about the impeachment trials. We didn't see anything that had anything to do with that freaking impeachment. The only thing that we saw today was students and police officers and firemen at a campus making sure that there wasn't anything else on that campus. So instead of preparing for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, there's several families that are now planning the funerals of their young children, And I know that a lot of kids were devastated after the shooting happened at that high school in Florida. And I know that some of those students are no longer here after that shooting because they've taken their own life. So what I'm hoping and what I am really, really, really praying, hey, fishing, I'm really, really praying that these kids get the true counseling that they need, because it is really, really hard for kids to deal with PTSD. I mean, you're finding that after these events happen, that some of the kids that weren't even part of the issue can't deal with the fact that they lost friends and are depressed and eventually aren't here. Because out of the kids that survived at that high school in Florida, several of those kids, including one of the ones who was really, really outspoken, and I believe she did a poem that gained national attention, aren't here anymore. because they took themselves out. And the reason I'm not on camera is because y'all not going to see me crying because I'm not a punk. But I'm really, really upset about what happened with these kids today. My heart is so full over this. I thought I was going to be talking about the impeachment hearings, but I think it's more important to talk about the mental health of our kids. Hey, Con, how are you? Thank you. I appreciate that. These children, our children aren't even safe going to school. They're not safe going to preschool. They're not safe going to elementary school. They're not safe going to middle school. And they're not safe going to high school or to college. In the last 10 years, guys, if y'all don't realize, we have had shootings on campuses where we're sending our kids, be it, high school, or primary school or post-secondary, because we've had several shootings at colleges as well. And I just wonder, what are we doing wrong that this keeps happening? Because gun control is not the issue, and gun control is not going to fix this. The only thing the gun control will do is it will handicap law-abiding citizens from having a gun, because criminals will always have access to a gun. And even though, they want to make it more stringent and do more of a mental check on people, it's not quite that easy to do that, because there weren't any mental signs that anything was going on with this little boy. And he was able to somehow get a gun. We don't know how he got it, but the law enforcement is saying that they found additional weapons at the home. And so I don't want this to be another reason for people to start jumping up and down saying we need gun control. No, we don't. We need to take mental health seriously. We need to look at things like this. This young man lost his father 2 years ago. So it sounds like he's never, ever grieved properly. I know in Canada, yeah, the laws are different in Canada, but even if they tried to ban guns in the United States, it's never going to happen. National Rifle Association, NRA, they have the most powerful lobbying group on Capitol Hill. They won't let it happen. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't think stronger gun control is really the answer, not here in the United States. Because to be honest with you, after 9/11, most people willingly gave up part of their Second Amendment rights. People don't realize that, but we willingly gave up part of our right to have a gun. So I don't know if gun control is I don't think that's the answer, because this young man was 16 years old, May 16 today. He's not even old enough to have a gun. And yet still he had guns. He's not even old enough. So a more stringent gun law would not have prevented him from getting the gun illegally or from taking the gun from his house. And I know that parents, like to give our kids privacy, but we need to be nosy. We need to be all up in our kids' Kool-Aid. We need to be all up in their Kool-Aid. We need to be all over them, even if we think nothing is wrong. We need to be all over them because kids internalize a lot, especially boys. Especially boys. Boys internalize even more than girls do. But they internalize a lot. And it is our job as parents to push through those walls and figure out what's going on with our child. Because even if there weren't any warning signs, this young man lost his father several years ago. So even if he was acting like it didn't affect him, losing a parent affects everybody, no matter how old you are. And, I know that they are supposed to have a lot of support for the students at the school post this event. But here's where my issue is that we're always giving the mental health and everything after the fact, after something has happened, so that someone else won't do it. But why aren't we, doing all of the stuff, before something happens? I remember when I was growing up, and I know I'm probably dating myself by saying this, but I remember when I was growing up, we had teen hotlines where you could just call if you just wanted to talk. And obviously they still had the teen suicide prevention line. I know they still have the teen suicide prevention line, but I'm not sure if they still have that teen hotline that they used to have that really was a line for kids to talk on so that they wouldn't do anything, so that they wouldn't run away from home. And they were talking to other kids, but they were talking to teenagers who had been, pretty much trained to talk to their peers. And maybe we need something like that again. Because I know that a lot of the kids are not going to talk to us. I know that, it's reality, but we have got to find a way to reach these millennials. We have got to find a way to reach them and pull them out of social media and back into the world of the living. Because I think a lot of it has to do with, if you walk on any high school campus or any college campus or just walk down the street, you see everybody has their face in a phone. Everybody. Even if they're sitting in their houses, people sit in their house with their faces in a phone. You can literally look and you'll see two teenagers who are talking to each other by texting. They're having a conversation, but they're not saying a daggone word. And that is a lot of the issue. They don't have to talk because they can just text things. But then the problem with that is that then we have individuals who don't know how to articulate how they're feeling. They're not able to articulate how they're feeling, and if they're angry, they just stay angry on the inside. They don't tell anybody. They just hold it in. And then you have a kid who's a ticking time bomb. I know. I personally, I hate email because I have to answer it. And I don't like talking on the phone that much. I really, really don't. I will talk on the phone for short conversations, but usually if I'm on the phone, it's usually a setup for when we're going to talk in person, a face-to-face. I don't mind FaceTiming, but I don't like to do a whole bunch of texting because texts can be misinterpreted. They really, really can. People say things in a text, and although a text doesn't have a tone, somehow we read tones into text. It can have full-blown arguments via text because of what we thought or how we thought somebody said something to us in a text. But, these kids up at that school are traumatized now. I mean, and the even more of the thing in this situation is that, so this is a suburb of Los Angeles. It's in Los Angeles County, but it's really a suburb of the city. It's about Santa Clarita is where Magic Mountain is in California, to put it in perspective. So it's basically, the community is a small, close-knit community. A lot of people know each other. The firefighters, the policemen, all of them live in that area. And all of them had kids. They either go to Saugus High School, where this incident happened, or to Santa Clarita High School, because there's only 2 high schools up there. And then where this incident happened, on either side of Saugus High School, is a school with younger kids. One is a primary school, and I believe the other one is like a middle school. So you've got these other schools around this. So this could have been a much worse situation, because all of those campuses are literally right next to each other. And that's how it is on a lot of the campuses. You will have a high school campus right next to a middle school. And I guess the thinking is that it's an easier transition for the middle schooler, being on the same campus, and they don't have to change to a different campus. But because of these type of incidents that are, happening at high schools now, I mean, even the incident that happened at Sandy Hook, which was an elementary school, it wasn't a student. It wasn't one of the young kids there who perpetrated that event. It was a former student who was much older. But I don't know what the answer is, other than maybe we should all homeschool our kids and all the kids go to school on the internet and stay home, So we're protecting our kids from the general public. You know what I mean? And I mean, hey, Squishy Unicorn, are you monetized yet? Did you get your monetization? Because we need something to celebrate. Homeschooling. That's what I'm thinking. And I know that's obviously a huge thing that probably can't happen, because in the United States, there's not a lot of parents who are able to stay home, have at least one parent who can stay home with the kids. C Circle got monetized. Oh, that's so good. And Squishy got monetized. Yay! Yay! I know I have 3 friends that got monetized in the last 2 days. Because Rico got monetized. He didn't even tell nobody. He kept it to himself. But one of the other YouTubers told us. I know. I'm going to tell you, Mahogany, especially because my son has autism, I wish that I could have homeschooled. I wish that I was able, to be at home with him and homeschool him, because I wasn't able to work from home until he was already in high school. But if I had been able to be an at-home mom the whole time, I would have absolutely done it. I would have homeschooled my son. My best friend homeschooled all 6 of her kids. She homeschooled them to high school, and then they went to high school. And her last kid was valedictorian of his class. And all of her kids, when they went to high school, when they went to a regular high school, they were ahead, and they all graduated early. Yeah, exactly. But I'm telling you, even after that stuff happened in Florida, there were several students that couldn't deal with school anymore, and they homeschooled they were like juniors, and they had another year of school to go. They homeschooled for their senior year because they couldn't deal with it. And this, I hate to say it, a lot of times the homeschool education is a better education, but you miss the socialization. And that's part of the issue, is some of these kids don't know how to socialize with other kids, and they're outcast, and they resent being outcast. And I know kids can be mean. I know kids can be mean. I mean, kids were mean when I was in school, and now that they have the internet and can be keyboard bandits behind a keyboard, you have kids saying all kinds of crazy things to other kids, like you should just go ahead and die, or, why don't you just kill yourself? That kind of crazy stuff is being said to kids by other kids, and again, I'm only making suppositions about with this young man, but clearly he was definitely still feeling the effects of not having a father. That part is true. And then he tried to take himself out and pretty much succeeded after he had done that damage. Because even though his body was still alive, his brain was dead because he shot himself in the head. And I don't even have no words for that. Because these kids are going out in such a violent way. And we already have issues with our children being educated here in the United States. I mean, although we may have some of the best, post-secondary education, we really suck when it comes to educating our students grades 1 through 12. And now, no matter where kids go to school, they're not safe. They're not safe. I mean, kids who live in the inner city, unfortunately, they have had to deal with not feeling safe for a long time. Some of them aren't even safe walking to school. But this is, in the suburbs which we all assume is the safest place to be. That's what we assume. Yeah. Well, taking the guns away, Con, is easier said than done. Because taking the guns away means that people that should have guns won't have them. I mean, I personally want to have my right to bear arms to protect myself and my son. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't care if it was harder for me to get a gun because I've never broken the law. But I don't think that that's the answer, because making the law stricter still didn't keep this kid from getting that gun, because they have made the gun law stricter here in the state of California where this happened, and this kid still had a gun. Okay? So it's really looking at it, trying to see if people are having, mental welfare issues. You can't always tell. Hey, Health, Weight, and Real Talk. Today, a kid killed himself pretty much and killed several other students. Hey, Blake. Yeah, so I mean, in my head, I'm like, what else could have been done? I don't know if this kid ever got any grief counseling when he lost his father several years ago. I don't know if that would ever happen, but I can tell you, me as an adult, my mom has been gone since 2011, and I'm still not over it. So I can only imagine a child, losing their parent before they are an adult. And, everyone's saying that they didn't see any signs or anything, and they haven't really spoken that much to the family. But I believe the young lady, her grandparents lived right next door to the shooter. So he knew her outside of school. It's just upsetting. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Even though my in the homeschooling environment, when people do the homeschooling environment, if they're doing it correctly, they also most parents pay an activity fee. Even though their kid is not going to the local public school, they pay an activity fee so that their kid can still participate in sports or after school activities on the campus. So they are still getting that socialization and being able to be around their peers, even though they're going to school at home. So that's part of homeschooling, they do still have the socialization. It's just probably not to the same degree, obviously, because, they're going to school on a computer at home. But like with my friend, she homeschooled all of her kids. So they were going to school together because her kids are pretty much stair steps. So they were all close in age. So she was homeschooling them together. So even though they weren't, going to a regular school, they were still having that socialization with their brothers and sisters. And then again, she paid that activity fee so that they still were involved in, the sports activities and the social activities at the school. And she would have homeschooled them for high school as well. But, it was their choice as to whether they wanted to continue being homeschooled or if they wanted to go to high school. Well, for me, Con, I'm fortunate that I do work. I just happen to work from home. And there are legitimate jobs that many stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home parents do from home so that they can be home with their kid. So I'm not advocating for people not working. Because that's not feasible in today's world. Especially because there's so many single parent households. Well, I'm just saying that I work from home now, but my friend, she worked from home, but she stopped working from home and only homeschooled her kids once they were school age. But until they were school age, she was just working her regular job. Now, like with me, if I were homeschooling my son, I would have to work a part-time job from home. That would be the only way that I would have been able to do that. Right. She stopped working, but she still worked part-time. But she worked part-time, like for herself, because she was a graphic artist. She still is a graphic artist. So she would, take jobs here and there, but she wasn't working like in somebody's office. She would just do stuff here and there. But keep in mind, my friend and her husband, this was their plan from the very beginning. So they planned out for her to be a stay-at-home mom. Because they knew if they had 6 kids, somebody was going to be staying home. Somebody was staying home because you can't get daycare for 6 kids. Somebody's staying home if you got 6 kids. Yeah, that's what she did. She had a year-round school year for her kids. They went to school all year round. So she was still able to do her part-time, work here and there. And then she also was tutoring other kids. So those are other things that she did to make extra money. But her husband worked a full-time job outside of the house, and he had a very good job. He still does. Because he had been in the service. He came out of the service and used his VA for them to get their house. Then he used his VA to get his degree, because she already had a degree. And so he's like in electronics or something. It makes really, really good money. So, but they sacrificed you know, so that she could be at home with those 6 kids. You know, but, you know, I know that's not the answer overall, you know, because we need to, I mean, maybe somewhere in the far future, there won't be schools and everybody, you know, all schools will be online, but we're not in that situation now. And so I still believe that we need to start really, really paying attention to the mental health of our kids. And we don't need to be feeding them a bunch of drugs when they're kids. What are you talking about? Con, what are you talking about? Looks like you may have some trouble teaching listen grammar. You don't understand grammar? What are you talking about? Con, what are you talking about? Right. Okay. Well, here's what I'll say, Con. In the United States, public schools in the United States are not. You have some really good schools, some places, but overall, our public education is not good compared to the rest of the world. And we now have like charter schools that are public schools, but they're public schools for only certain kids, you know. And then our kids go through our public schools here in the United States, but then they have a hard time getting into the state colleges and universities with the public school education in the state that they're trying to go to college in. So that means that the way that we're educating our kids is not measuring up to what they need to have to go to college. Hey, Ernest. I've been talking about the unfortunate event that happened here in California today with the a school shooting, and just, you know, really kind of just talking out what we can do, because I don't think that gun control is the answer, but I seriously think that our kids are in crises. Because I mean, every year or every other year, there's a shooting at a school. And I mean, and these are only the ones that we hear about, because I'm sure we don't hear about, you know, everyone that happens. We just hear about it if a bunch of people get shot. You know, but I'm afraid that it's happening probably more than we're being told about. I mean, I remember when that student went off a couple of years ago, up in Santa Barbara. I remember, you know, where when a child had a gun at school, at a middle school here in LA. Thankfully, they got it from the kid before anything happened. I mean, but I remember when a kid took a gun to school and accidentally shot one of his classmates. So something is wrong. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I didn't live in America either, Con. But this is where I was born. You know, my ancestors were part of the diaspora. And they were part of the ones that got dropped off on the North American continent. But the sad thing about this is that because the shootings are happening in areas that are more mixed and not minority, we hear about them. But I know that we know that these aren't the only school shootings that are happening. These are just the only ones that we hear about. But I mean, there's kids in inner cities, you know, like I said, in Chicago, in New York, you know, and here in the city of Los Angeles, you know, where, you know, it's a daily, you know, task to go to school and come home safely. And I wish I could say that this is, you know, the only time that this has happened in LA County this year, but it's not. Because there was a campus lockdown probably like, I want to say it was in the spring, and my goddaughter was a teacher on that campus. So I you know, and literally it was on the news. She didn't even know they were on the news and that they were under lockdown. And again, there was somebody walking around the campus with a gun. And I know that supposedly we are supposed to have police on campuses now. At least one, you know, school resource officer. But I didn't hear anything about that at the school out in Saugus this morning. You know? Because we know that there was supposedly an officer at the school in Florida, and we all know what happened with that. But in Saugus, I don't know if they had a resource officer on campus, but I do know that emergency was there within like 2 minutes. They got there fast. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm saying that the National Rifle Association has their own agenda. And that they don't really care. You know, their argument is they want to have their rifles. They want to be able to have their, you know, hunting rifles and all of this stuff. You know, but putting in additional gun control is not going to help, because I've already told you, here in California, they have instituted strict gun control. And we still had a school shooting where a 16-year-old had a gun today. We are all from the planet Earth. Yeah, I know. But it is still an amendment to the Constitution, and it is still the one that we go by. However, after 2011, after September 11th happened, we gave up some of our rights as far as Second Amendment rights. So the government can do what they can do a whole lot, you know, in regards to our ability to possess guns right now, without doing anything, without making any changes to, you know, the Second Amendment, because we told them it was okay after 9/11. And a lot of people don't even realize that. That's why when they're doing all this hooping and hollering about strengthening gun control, my argument is that that's not what the real issue is. And stricter gun laws won't hurt the people who are getting the guns illegally and are doing the shooting. It'll only make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to have guns. So that's my rationale for not being in agreement to more gun control. I am a Christian, Khan. I am a Christian. But I have a relationship with God. And I don't necessarily go to a denominational church. I don't belong to any denomination. I think he's north of the border. Aren't you in Canada, Khan? Aren't you Canadian? You sure Jesus would have been pro-gun? Yeah, you're in Canada. Well, let's be respectful in the chat. So, Khan, that's not very nice, Khan. And you're starting to sound like a troll. Are you a troll that's just in the chat? Because we're having a very serious conversation in here about a school shooting. Anyway, okay, Khan, that's fine. I have several friends that live in Canada, but they wish they had some of the resources that I have here in America, because Canada doesn't have as many resources when it comes to kids on the autism spectrum. So I guess I will take, you know, where I am and being able to have those resources for someone with autism. I know. And doesn't Australia has some really, really strict gun control laws. That I do know. Australia has crazy gun control laws. Well, you know what, Con? Unfortunately, even though we don't think about it, and even though it's not in most Americans' face, we've been at war for like almost, over 25 years. And even though these school shootings are primarily students, they're primarily the kids themselves. It's not somebody else coming on the campus. So this has to do with us protecting our kids and helping our kids that need help with mental health issues. Because that little boy, after doing what he did, then shot himself. So he still didn't get any help for whatever was going on with him. Now you're being sarcastic, Con. Yeah, and you guys already have 420. That's also legal across the entire country. Isn't that right? Con, we will be respectful in the chat. All right then. We'll see you. Bye. Bye. And I don't know, Con, you were here and we let you stay in the chat because you were actually having a conversation. But I think that you're a troll. And you just came over here to be argumentative. What do you think, Mahogany? Think I'm right? I think we just had I think that's what was going on. Well, at least he didn't use any profanity. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure that was a troll. Yep, he's a troll. Well, no worries. I'm about to even though he didn't say anything too bad. I deleted something that he said to you, Mahogany. So I'm just gonna, give me a second here. Give me a second here, guys. Let me just do something. All right. Yeah. All right. He's gone. Never to return. He gone. And you saw Mahogany. I was trying to be nice, but when that last comment that I blocked was starting to be disrespectful to you, I was just like, you know what? That's why I said, are you a troll? I think you're a troll. They've been trolling for the last few days. I don't get it. I don't care. Because I'm talking about the school shooting. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about it. And my opinion is still going to be the same. It's not that I'm against gun control, because I'm absolutely not against it. I just don't think that making our gun control laws more strict is going to solve this problem. Because he shouldn't have had a gun anyway. He was only 15 until today. Today he turned 16. So it was already against the law for him to have a gun, but somehow he was able to get a gun. So for me, it's really about the state of mind of the person who has the gun in their hand. Yeah, so I mean, the troll may have made a couple of points about Canada, but I'm not moving to Canada. So I'm not moving to Canada because Canada has some issues of their own. You know, people aren't really caring for that prime minister right now. He's gotten himself into a little bit of a pickle. I know. I mean, because, you know, hey, here's the thing. Every country has to deal with their gun control issues the way that they see fit. Like I was saying earlier, in Australia, they have probably the strictest gun control laws in the world, and it works for them because they had something happen. Like I believe, I want to say it was in the 80s or something. Something horrible happened, and that's why they have those gun control laws. But Australia is a much smaller country, you know? And for the most part, they don't have a whole bunch of people that live in the outback. You know, the outback part of Australia is not as inhabited, you know, but that we're talking about, you know, you can fit a couple of Australias into the United States. And we have a much larger population. So that's why that kind of law, it would be harder for that here, I think. And, you know, I know everyone wants to put it on the federal government, but I think they're right by throwing it back to each state. The states need to have some type of you know, better laws. Now, clearly, the law had nothing to do with what happened with this boy. You know, I mean, because we already have a stricter law in California. But there was guns and he had access to guns. And like I said, maybe the gun was already in the house because nothing is showing that he went out and purchased the gun. He just got the gun. And apparently there were other guns that he could have had that were at the house. So there were guns in his house. So then that again falls back on parents. If you if you're going to have a gun in your house, you have to be responsible about those guns. They have to be locked up. They have to be, you can't have them anywhere where someone under the age of 18 can get a hold of it. Yeah, I knew, that's what I said. Something horrible happened in Australia that prompted them to have this no guns rule. You know, I mean, and remember I told you that when I went to Bermuda, police can't even, the police don't even carry guns in Bermuda. The police don't have guns. And it works for them. They don't have a whole lot of crime either in Bermuda. I don't know how they do that. Hey, Blood X. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, we're up here talking about the school shooting that happened here in California today. And Blood X, I had a troll that was arguing with us. You know, I am doing good. I am doing good. I'm so happy that 3 of my friends got monetized today. 3 people got monetized today that I know. Yeah, we had a troll in here. A Canadian troll at that. You know, and he was talking about the laws here in the United States versus Canada. Well, you know, I don't live in Canada, so I can't really comment on Canada's laws. You know, I can only comment on what's going on here and how we should handle things here. But I know that you guys know that within the next couple of days, even though the impeachment hearings are going on in DC, we're going to be hearing people talking about that's why we need more strict gun control. You know, that's what we're going to be hearing. And I just don't agree with that for the simple fact that I don't think that that's going to fix the problem. You know, it's not going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix our kids. It's not going to fix our kids. We have to fix our kids. You know, because clearly something is wrong when we have so many kids that are going on campuses and shooting up. And it's been going on since Columbine. You know, I can only speak for what's going on here. And we all know that we only hear about a fraction of what actually happens. You know, a fraction of what happens. I mean, we know about this because this happened in California and it happened in the Los Angeles area. But if it happened, you know, in some small hick town in the middle of the country, will we know about it? Would anybody tell us about it? Will we hear about it? Or if it happened, if it happened last week in Chicago, you know, but kids are always getting killed in Chicago. So would they even tell us about that school shooting? You know what I mean? We can never get ourselves to the point where things like this are just ordinary happenings to us. It can't be something that just happens all the time. Oh, let me see what you said. Okay, Miss Blind Needle. Go do your crocheting. Thank you for coming through. You always come through. Yeah, but it's, heck, nobody wants to sit and talk about school shootings, but it happened. And we can't ignore it and act like it didn't happen and just go on about our merry way and just be talking about the impeachment. Who the heck cares about that daggone hearing? It's going to keep going on. Meanwhile, we need to figure out something to help our kids. And I'm not just talking about, because this keeps happening. Stone Reynolds. Who are you? Hi, Stone Reynolds. Who's that? I can see Stone Reynolds. Who are you? Let me see. There you go. Yeah, there is. I know, but they don't talk about the inner city school shootings. We'll never hear about them, but we know they're going on. We only hear about shootings at schools that are not all black. If it's an all black school or all Latino school, we won't hear about that shooting. I didn't want to say it that way, but it's the truth. If it's a mixed population or a predominantly white population at the school, we'll hear about it. But if it's, an inner city school that's predominantly, minority, we don't even hear about those. But we know that they happen. We know that they happen. And they happen all the time. But they only make the local news, if that. Woo, 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 woo. Troll Patrol, Troll Patrol. Stone Reynolds, did you come in here to mock? You know what, Stone Reynolds? I don't know who you are. But I don't like your comments. I don't like your comments. Yeah, but I don't like that comment. Don't come in here talking about school shootings are fake. I don't like the comments you made. Because there's some parents in Santa Clarita that will disagree with you about that today. There's 2 kids that went to school this morning that are dead, and their parents are planning funerals for them. So, school shootings are not fake. They downplay that they happen. We only hear about a few of them. And we only heard about this one because of where it happened. If it had happened in South Central Los Angeles, it wouldn't have made national attention. Location, location, location. Just like with real estate. I know, you know what, Mahogany? I've seen that floating around I've seen that floating around YouTube that Sandy Hook was faked. I've seen that floating around. But I don't believe that it was fake. I don't believe the one that happened in Florida was fake. I definitely don't believe Columbine was fake. I don't believe the shooting at Virginia Tech was fake. I don't believe any of these were fake. But I've seen a couple of crazy YouTube stories talking about that all of the school shootings are fake, that they're not happening. Then how are these kids winding up dead? Are the kids fake too? Oh my goodness. Well, Stone Reynolds, I already know that we're in the last days. But are you an agent coming into my stream? Because you just came into a woke stream, Stone Reynolds. You came into a woke stream. We just don't talk about certain things on this channel. So are you an agent coming into my stream? Are we in retrograde, y'all? Is there a retrograde moon going on? Terry, you see what's going on? Oh, you're above us woke folks. So you are an agent. You are an agent. You're an agent that was sent to troll my chat. Now, I thought I'd get the trolls last night when I was talking about the impeachment, but I get the trolls tonight because I'm talking about a shooting at a school. Interesting. Okay. Well, we're not sleeping over here. We're not sheep that sleep. Stone Reynolds. Our eyes are open over here. But be careful what you're saying on YouTube, Stone Reynolds. Be careful what you're saying on YouTube. How are you doing, Terry? Yeah, I did a pop-up earlier today on my Streamlabs. Because even though I'm supposed to be able to, I still can't go live directly from my phone. But I've talked to other people who have over 1,000, and they still can't either. And they're saying that part takes a few weeks. I'm like, whatever. So until then, if I want to go live mobilely, I'll just do it on my phone on Streamlabs. Well, we have a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing around here. We have a lot of that. Wow. I can't. You saw what I was talking about, Terry. That's number 2. We had one in here. We had one in here that was in here for about 30 minutes earlier. Yeah, I had to push the other one out because he started getting disrespectful with Mahogany. And she was humoring him, and so was I. But then I got sick of humoring him because I'm like, you know what? I don't have no more time for this troll. And he was saying that he was Muslim, so, and Canadian. But this one came in differently. But man, I can't with y'all. I can't with y'all. She had another live stream tonight, and I checked her out early, and she wasn't on. Didn't have no notice that she was gonna come on. Oh well. Tell her if she comes on when she says she's gonna come on early, I can be there. You know, because I want to mod for her streams and I want to be involved in the stuff, but I had to come on tonight in regards to this school shooting stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're but I'm ready. I already knew already knew that they want to start coming in. Because they've been trolling people all day long today. I've been almost every stream that I've been in today, Mahogany, had trolls up in it. So, but that's fine. As long as they don't use foul language, I'll let them, say a couple of things. And then once I go to your page, see you don't have no content, at least the second one actually put a picture in. The first one came in, he had no picture either, Oh, I know. They have their own little community too. I'm like, get out of my chat talking that crazy mess. No, I was in a growth stream, Mahogany, with this YouTuber, Chef and More, and she had like about 3 of them come in today. Yesterday, it was like 12 of them. Like, they just kept changing their account and just kept coming back in. That's what they just kept doing it. And then today she had like about 3 or 4 of them, and I'm one of her mods, and we were just like, if somebody don't have a picture, they automatically become suspect. You can't put a picture on your account. It don't even have to be you, but that's something I learned early on YouTube. I learned that before when I started going in other people's live streams, before I even had a channel, is that people said, if you want people to take your channel, take you seriously on YouTube, you got to have a picture so they know you are a real person. You know? Yeah. But trolls can troll on. I mean, I don't have much to say about the impeachment hearings other than what I said yesterday, because not much has changed since yesterday. You know, I did actually look and see what was going on that briefly. You know, this evening, but you know, oh, I know. They never have pictures, Mahogany. They never have pictures. But that's the reason why I'm not. That's the other reason why y'all are looking at my avatar. Because 2 days ago I came on and I came on without the avatar, but I knew I was probably going to get trolled because of the subject matter. I said, no, we're not coming on camera. You know, because I don't have a poker face. I don't have a poker face. So they would be able to, you know, I can't play off, you know, like some people can. Yeah, I can play it off because you can't see me while I'm kicking you out of the chat. And see me, I'm bold. I'll just ask the troll, are you a troll? Of course a troll is going to tell you they're not a troll, but then their conversation keeps telling you that yes, you are. I'm like, but when he came in here and said Sandy Hooks was fake, I was like, I can't with these people today. Those were little babies in that one. And in that situation, the young man who did the killing, who did that shooting spree, they said that he is on the spectrum, that he's on the autism spectrum. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, because you know, that's not something that, you know, you don't see people on the spectrum doing that kind of stuff, but then they're smart enough, they could. Oh yeah, let's talk about T.I. Let's talk about him. I was going to bring, that was actually something I was planning on talking about tonight before the shootings happened. So Mr. T.I. Harris, Tip Harris, goes to the doctor with his daughter to validate that she's still a virgin by ensuring that she still has a hymen. Now, one of my other friends did talk about this on her channel, but I'll just say that a hymen does not mean that someone is still a virgin, because in all actuality, the hymen doesn't necessarily tear for everybody. Sometimes it may not even tear ever, because it's meant to stretch. So it being, you know, intact does not mean that a woman is a virgin, nor does it not being intact mean that she's not one. But I just feel it, to me, going to her appointments and then telling the world about it, he's doing exactly what one of my other friends said. He's basically putting his daughter up for sale to the highest bidder. He's doing what rich people do. He's going to sell off her virginity. And that's a practice that they do. Hey, Kenny. Yeah, you caught me live. We were talking about the school shooting out here in California, but we've moved off of that topic since that topic keeps getting us trolled. So now we're going to talk about Tip. Yeah, I think he's out of his freaking mind doing that, but what he's doing is simply making public a practice that a lot of people have done. The upper crust, a whole bunch of white people do that. It's part of like the contingency for people getting their inheritances and stuff. And I'm like, so, I mean, she made. I'm not doubting that the girl is still a virgin, because she probably is. But it's just very it's just really strange that he would publicize all that stuff, even if he's doing it, because it makes him look weird. It makes him look weird, for real, for real. But he's not the first one to do it. He's just bold enough to tell us that he's doing it. But he's gonna sell her off to the highest bidder. If that girl stay a virgin, he's gonna sell her off to the highest bidder. Because I mean, if you think about it, culturally, up until a certain point, our girls didn't do anything, until they actually got married. Because as far as we're concerned, our mothers were virgins when they married out, when they got with our dads, and yeah, that's the way it was portrayed. And for all intents and purposes, people don't need to be going around there spreading it around as teenagers anyway. A teenager's not ready for sex, even if their body's ready for it. We all know that as adults. We all understand now as adults that no teenager should be going around having sex, because they're not ready for it. They're not emotionally ready for it. And even if the body appears to be physically ready for it, they ain't ready for it. Because he's bragging about the fact that his daughter is still a virgin. In case anybody's interested in making her their wife, because she's old enough to get married, I guess, or close to it. So he's preparing her for that. But she gonna do something like what Janet did. Remember Janet? As soon as she was old enough, she was out of there. She eloped to get out of there, out of her house. And then Jermaine did the same thing. Tip is very controlling with them kids. So, but she the quiet one. She's the quiet one. And you always have to watch out for the quiet one. That's the quiet one, you know, because they do some sneaky stuff. And then the other girl is not. I mean, Zanique. I guess he's not as worried about what's going on with Zanique, because Zanique is not his biological child. That's, you know, and this daughter is his biological daughter. So it'll be interesting. I guess he's gonna do the same thing with that 2-year-old he got with Tiny. He want to be relevant, though. I mean, he didn't need to even do that. He was relevant because of that show just come out, Rhythm and Flow. You know. And then I know that D Smoke getting ready to put him on his thing because he said so. He getting ready to do something with D Smoke. After that, you know, that rap competition. And they getting ready to start filming season 2 of that show, because the first season has gotten such rave reviews. So he didn't need to put his daughter out there like that. You know? He got plenty of stuff going on that he did not need to be putting her business out there like that. Because, I mean, y'all remember when Angela Simmons was going around, you know, and, you know, talking about, you know, how she was still a virgin. She wasn't going to do anything until she got married and everything. And we know what happened with that. We know what happened with that. And, you know, God rest that boy that she had the child with. So, you know, rest in peace. You know, but oh, you didn't see the first season of Rhythm and Flow? It's on Netflix, Kenny. You got to watch it. The winner of it, I know him. He grew up in my church. He still goes to my church, as a matter of fact. So, and his mother is over the choir at our church. But yeah, he's from Inglewood. But you got to look at him, because they keep trying to label him like Kendrick Lamar, but you go listen to his lyrics and you'll find out he's way deeper than Kendrick. Way deeper than Kendrick. Yeah. D Smoke. Especially that Last Supper. He tore them up with that song. Yeah, check it out on Netflix. Check it out. I'm telling you. He's been waiting all this time. He's been waiting a long time. You know, he's been waiting a long time to get his shot. And it's here. You know? But he's still getting his residuals from Never. Because I did tell y'all that D Smoke is the writer of Never for Jaheim. He got an ASCAP award for that too. And he wrote that when he was in college 12 years ago. And since then, he's been grinding. And finally, he got on that show. And I think the Netflix show is better for the hip hop kids, because they're getting exposed to the entire world on Netflix. Whereas if they were on, you know, one of the shows that's on the regular TV, like on Fox or on NBC, they would only be seen in the United States. But by them doing that show on Netflix, it gives them international exposure. And that'll be so good for these kids. But you know, we'll see. We'll see what. But with Mr. Tip, he got plenty going on. He did not need to put his daughter on Front Street like that. He did not need to put that girl on Front Street like that. You know, I don't know what he was. I don't know what the point of it was, other than trying to brag on her and basically set her up for, you know, getting her a good husband. I know it is, but it's the truth. That's how they be doing. You know, because when you got to think about it, you don't want your kids to be just with, they don't want their kids to be with just anybody, you know, because, I mean, let's be realistic. I know that Reverend loves those grandkids that he got, you know, and the you know, but the daughters, I mean, Vanessa and Angela, you know, I don't know how they were picking when they were picking who was going to be their baby's daddy. And the reason I'm saying that is because, you know, that's the real. If you're going to lay down with someone, then you're thinking about that being your the father of your child. You know? Oh yeah. Man, I can't with them. I don't do Hebrew Israelites, but they're funny to me because with all that talking they do, I've seen a few of them date women who are Christians and who have no intention of converting over to that stuff. And I don't even know. I'm like, how do you do it? How do you deal with him with all that false doctrine he's believing? They just mix everything up. They got a little bit of truth in there, and then the rest of it is just pure ignorance. You know? They be manufacturing us. That's why I told you the other day, we don't have to go make ourselves be in the Bible. We're already there. Other people, other races might have a hard time finding themselves in there, but we don't. That's the reason why they did not want the slaves to read. Because if they could read the word, they could see that they was all up in there and that they were being lied to. I'm just saying. And how did we get on the Bible? I was like, all conversations lead back to God no matter what. They always lead back to him. But I mean, I could have started the conversation that way and just said the reason we keep having these school shootings is because we took God out of schools. There's no prayer in the schools. That's how I really wanted to start the conversation. But that's really what I think. I really think that it's because we have taken just saying a prayer out of the school. What's that lady's name? That O'Hare who was an atheist and had prayer taken out of school. I can't think of her first name. But y'all know that the son that she had prayer taken out of the school for became a Christian later on. And fought to try to get that reversed, that his mom had really used him as a pawn. And I met him like, whew. I was at some Christian thing out here, and he was there. He was a speaker at it. And I talked to him. Yep. He felt horrible and had been fighting to try to make people understand the damage that was done by that act by his mom. What show? I want to say it's Marilyn O'Hare, or I think it was Marilyn, something like that. Daggone shame. She's the most famous atheist in the country, in the world. I mean, she's dead, long dead now. I believe she was murdered or something. Yeah, I think it's Marilyn O'Hare. Yeah, but her son became a born-again Christian as an adult. And was trying to get prayer back in school. But yeah, that's one of the things that I do believe. I believe that when they took prayer out of school, that did a lot. And I don't think it's ever been the same since then. Because a prayer, that's not really putting religion or any specific religion in school, but it sure didn't hurt. Yeah. Yeah, and I actually met her son. I actually met him. And, he gave a talk at this thing that I was at. And so, a few of us were asking him questions and everything afterwards. But no prayer in the classroom. And I think the only thing that they were doing was, I believe they would say, "Our Father." That's the prayer that was being said in school, I believe. I don't know, since, it was already taken out of school by the time I was born. And then I never went to public school. I went to a Catholic school, so I always had prayer in the classroom. But I believe that's the prayer that was the prayer that was said in classrooms, that they would say the Our Father. Oh yeah. I think next year, I think the next season, they're gonna have even better people on that. They're gonna have even fiercer ones because see, when they did this season of that show, D Smoke and the guy who came in second, they were the most seasoned ones out of everybody, and both of them have been, kind of underground for years and years. But D Smoke is a producer, so he was already doing his stuff. All this allowed him to do was to do the grand production that he couldn't do on his little money, and do it for them. And because he's already like, he opened up for his brother. And I think he opened up for his brother when his brother was on tour. And his brother is Sir. He already knows Kendrick Lamar. He could have signed with Kendrick's label. But I think this was the smart move for him, because if he was on that label, then people would continue to compare him to Kendrick. And he's not Kendrick, and he's a musician. He's a real true artist. Dude plays piano, plays guitar, plays, drums. He can do all the engineering and stuff. And he's coming out of being an educator. He was a teacher. And so that's another thing. His students are like wilding out because they're seeing that their teacher, is finally living his dreams, because he always told them that he was doing music. He was doing music the whole time. So they knew he was doing this and stuff. But now he don't need to do it no more. He can just do his music. I know, that's what I said. I don't know. So, but I truly believe that this is because we are a godless nation. We are a godless nation. It doesn't matter that there are people in our nation that, believe and serve God. As a whole, our country is godless. It's a heathen country. So, I like the fact that we do have the freedom to have religion or not have religion. It's your choice. But our country as a whole is lost. And in my mind, and this is just in my mind, I believe that Trump being in office is fulfilling some of the Bible prophecies about Israel. Because he's doing all of that stuff for Israel. Now, I'm not saying that the people that are in Israel are the rightful Jews. We're not even going to go into that part. But, eventually all of that will be shown. And then once all of these people have done everything that they're doing to try to make, Israel, then by that point, the rightful people will be there. But I believe that the stuff that's going on as far as this president and Israel, I think it's some of the stuff that we see in the Bible in regards to Israel in the last days. Oh yeah. Yeah, because some of these godless people that I'm talking about say that they're Christians. But you can't be a Christian and love God and hate somebody else. You can't be hating people and say that you love God in the next breath. You can't be that hypocrite that people are being. You know? But I think that we have the president that we have because this is the president that we deserved as a nation. Our nation as a whole. You know, it's like when Israel was asking for a king, and so they got Saul. Saul wasn't who they should have had, but they got what they deserved. And they had to wait years before they got the right person. So that's what I'm saying. I think we got the president that we as a country deserve. I don't feel I deserved him, but I definitely feel that our country probably deserved him because we were showing our behinds. I know. That's why I don't belong to any of them on here on the YouTube. Because they spout hate. You can't hate anybody if you love God. You know? And I'm talking about anybody. I mean, because here's the thing. If you really love God, then you're not going to be going around shouting stuff at the alphabet people either. Because God loves everybody. You can love the person. You may not like the lifestyle that they're in. You may not agree with that. But before we had this stuff about coming out and everything, nobody even knew what people did. We didn't even know none of that stuff. So my personal opinion in regards to that is that's between them and God and whoever it is that they're with. Those are the only ones who need to know that information. The rest of us don't. Yeah, I know. I know, Terry. They can't. They just cloak it under Christianity. And that's the reason why you have all of these people of color who despise Christianity because they think that that is the Christianity that us other Black people are following. And we're not. We not fools. We not fools. You know, it's like there's a reason why you have an AME and a CME church, and you have all of these black versions of all of the different Christian denominations. There's a reason why, there's a reason. So, 1 second, guys. I'm gonna let the music keep playing. I gotta go see my son is doing something. I'm checking on him. I'll be right back. Music's playing. All right. Thank you. I'm back, guys. All right. You went and got yourself some tea? Yeah, I had coffee earlier today. I didn't have coffee tonight, though. But yeah. I bet you that situation with Tip is not isolated. He's just the only one who's crazy enough to tell us that he's doing that. But white people been doing that stuff. So, and he thinks he's part of the elite. So why wouldn't he do what the elite do? Yeah, I'm actually drinking some lemon and honey. No tea bag, just lemon and honey and hot water. So there's nothing in it. Yeah, there are. I'm telling you. And there are more affluent or wealthy black people that are doing what he's doing and being vocal about. Because they tie these kids money to them being pure. And it's they do it in other cultures too. So it's not anything new. It's not anything new. He's just talking about it, and people don't normally talk about it. But at least he's not doing that crazy stuff that they do in that is still going on in certain parts of Africa, with circumcising women. I think that is the most barbaric and inhumane practice. You need some bush tea. So they sell that at one of the stores near me. Bush tea. Who did I miss? Yep. But yeah, at least, of course, I've never understood why they're still doing that practice of the female circumcisions in Africa. I mean, and it's not people who live back in the bush. You know what I'm saying? It's not the people who live out in the bush. It's people who are doing this, who are in cities, who are wealthy, but they just are holding on to that practice, that tradition that's inhumane. I know. Isn't that crazy? They think that it should only be out of obligation. And hey, there are women who don't like sex. There are, just like there are men who don't like sex. But there are women who don't like sex and only have sex to out of obligation. You know, but if they do something like that, you are guaranteeing that it's not going to be enjoyable, so to speak. I mean, in my personal opinion, God put everything where he put it for a reason. So, and he never meant for it to be something for us just to do. You know, but many people think of women as not being sexual creatures when that's not true, because we come into our peaks at a later age than men do. We're still climbing up the hill while they've already started going down the hill. However, even though they're going down the hill, they can still make a baby into their 70s, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm like, why would you do that to men? Yeah, well, that's not true. That's not true, Mahogany. I mean, you should. I mean, if you're in a relationship and everything, hopefully, you know, it's going to always be a consensual thing. But I wouldn't say that a man should take it just because that's his wife. But there's some men that believe that. And I believe that it's still rape. I believe that it is still rape. So, no means no. Even if it's your husband, it's still no. You know, but, you know, hopefully, you know, if you say no, he can get you in the mood and change your mind. Now, I mean, there's no problem with him trying to change your mind, you know, but just don't force you. But he can kind of nudge you into it, you know? Yeah, that was the problem though, but that before they didn't see it as that, because if the two were married, but it still has to be consensual. It should always be consensual. You know? I mean that's the same thing. I mean, like the difference between, it's like when they say, can a man be raped? It's kind of hard to say that, but I mean, you can make a man get aroused even if he doesn't want to do something sometimes, but it's a little harder than that. She said she tells women that she's at fault for refusing her man. I can't. Yeah. Some women believe that, Mahogany. I'm telling you. They believe that. They believe that crap. But, if I'm with somebody that I want to be with, then you're not going to, it's like you're not going to, first of all, I'm probably not going to say no. And number two, if I'm who you really want to be with, then, a no every once in a while is okay. But yeah, if the answer is always no, well, yeah, that's a problem. Maybe you shouldn't be with that person if you don't want to, be with them intimately. It is, but people believe that way. They do. And there's people like that in the church that talk that crazy mess. Trust. Talk that crazy mess in the church. I'm like, I said, you can do that if you want to. That's not how I'm going to live my life at all. It's 3 of us in here. Is it just me, you, Mahogany? I think Blind Lito left. Kenny, are you still here? Or did Kenny go to sleep on us? You still here, Kenny? Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't have that problem no more. I am free of that, so I never have that issue. But yeah, I mean, but when I was younger, that was the only time. That was the only time the answer was no. It was during that time of the month. And any man that wants to be with a woman during that time of the month, something's wrong with him. That's just nasty to me. And yeah, you can get infections and stuff by doing that when you're on your cycle, because your body is kind of opened up. Oh yeah, no, there's other stuff you can do. There's always other things you can do. But some women don't like doing that. And that's a problem. They don't mind it being done to them, but they don't want it. They only want to receive. They'd rather be a pillow princess. And I'm like, I don't even understand women like that. I don't understand them. Because I'm like, how How do you keep a man? How do you keep a man? I'm like, it's the middle of the night now, so shame on the kid if they come into the chat now. I was like, and I've already gone and checked on my thing, and it says that my stuff is not for children. Because I may talk about children when I'm talking about autism, but I'm not talking to children. And most of what I'm saying is over a kid's head. So yeah, I'm sorry. I know, Terry, but I'm like, I don't understand women like that. And that's me being an older woman and just having a different understanding because I'm older now. But it's just, my thing is, if you're going to be in a relationship, you're in a total relationship, which means all parts of the relationship are part of the relationship. If you don't like being intimate, or being intimate often, then you need to get with someone who doesn't like to be intimate often. And if you only do it out of obligation to the other person, something's wrong, or y'all aren't doing it right. I'm like, oh, y'all aren't doing it right. But I'm just glad to start to see that people are starting to come out of the drama zone. And, well, from the standpoint of the people that have been being pulled into drama in different portions of YouTube are backing out and just letting whoever want to have the drama, have that drama over there. And we're going to sit over here. So I'm starting to see that happening. So it's like maybe we're coming out of that retrograde moon where everybody was losing their daggone mind on here. It is. I mean, and it's important if you're in a relationship that's not platonic, Now, if you're in a platonic relationship, then that's not an important thing. But if you're in a non-platonic relationship, it's kind of a given that that's going to be part of it. But I don't know. I think because there's so much of, public displays of affection and everything, and then it's all in their face on TV and everything, a lot of people expect their lives and themselves to be, I guess, like what they see. Who knows? Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, PDA, public displays of affection. Yeah. People blame TK. I know you can't be nobody's Tasha K. And do you know, to this day, Candace acts like she didn't do nothing, like she had nothing to do with that. And I'm like, come on, girl, if you did it, just say so. Don't act like you ain't do nothing. I'm like, that's 2 times you done something to this chick who ain't doing nothing to you. I know, exactly. Especially with the smaller YouTubers. It's stupid. It's like, ain't you here to grow? Don't you have other stuff to do than to get into it with people you truly don't know? I mean, y'all don't know each other. You ain't never laid eyes on this person. You know, you only see an avatar on YouTube. So, and hear a voice, but you don't know them. So I'm like, stop it. But people are just, I'm just seeing that, you know, people are just backing off. And unfortunately, you have some people that are really, you know, had good content on their pages and everything, and we're talking about relevant stuff that aren't even coming on, you know, right now because they don't want to deal with the drama. They just like have backed off and say, I'll be back later when y'all finish doing what y'all doing. But I'm like, I ain't with all of that. I'm gonna keep doing my thing and try to get, get people I know should be doing something else to back up out of that stuff, and slowly but surely they coming up out of it and they not dealing with it and they going back to just doing themselves. Because YouTube ain't gonna be putting up with all that drama. You know, this ain't VH1. This ain't Love and Hip Hop. Exactly. Now, I mean, you know, I might listen in the clouds. I might come on your channel and listen in the crowd and sit out in the clouds and listen. You know, but I'm not going to get involved in the drama. You know, I mean, they don't have no solutions. They just don't have solutions. They just come with drama. So it's like you want to get in, you want to listen to adult conversations that, you know, where people are able to just give their opinions. And even if there's no solutions, you know, you don't come off the channel or people threatening to do crazy stuff to you off of YouTube or people doxing each other. It's like, are we in high school? No, I didn't think so. But by next year, they're going to have 2 separate YouTubes, I believe. Like all the channels that are truly kids channels are not going to be on the same YouTube that we're on. They're going to be on that YouTube Kids. And videos that have kids in them or don't specifically say that they're not for kids are going to be demonetized. Yep. I know. That's what I'm like. What are you people doing? Because I told y'all one of the other autism channels had CPS called on him. You know, but you got all these other crazy raggedy people out here that should have CPS called on them, and y'all calling them on this man who's simply trying to restrain his teenage daughter from hurting herself. Okay. You know, I still don't know what's going on with strong mommy. She's probably gonna have to move to a different platform with the new rules anyway, because all she does is she's gonna have to not have her kids take down all the videos that have her kids in them. But I know she tries to not have them too much in her videos. You know. But she's not going to make any money on those videos no more. And those other mommy channels, when it's just about the kids, may not make money either. Like, you know, ones where they're teaching kids songs, or they're like stay-at-home moms where they're vlogging, they're teaching their kids their classes and stuff. They're not gonna be able to do that no more and stay monetized. Okay. Well, we still here, Terry. We're gonna get off in a few minutes though, because we've been on for almost 2.5 hours. Oh, we're only gonna be on for like another about 5 minutes. We're gonna be on about 5 minutes. That's it. Because we've been on for about 2.5 hours. Yeah. We winding down, Terry. Yeah. No, but Jovi hasn't had trolls in her streams for a long time. You know, other than the normal trolls that we know about. She doesn't get a whole bunch of trolls in there. I'm like, but we did the other day. There was one the other day. We had to get rid of them. That's right. We did have to get rid of one the other day. But we used to get them all the time. And Takara used to kick their butts up out of there. But hopefully she'll come back and visit us one day. Listen, she stops by the videos though and likes my videos and leaves me comments, so I know she's okay. So yeah, that was. I'm like, I don't know what's up with the trolls, but it seems like they're just picking random channels and they jump in everybody's channel. That's why I've told a bunch of people, I'm like, say what you're gonna say, because it doesn't really matter. Trolls are gonna come no matter what you're talking about, because that's what they're here to do. Yeah, I know. I told her that too. That's okay. She doing what she got to do. She making her coins, and as y'all said, she booed up too. So nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having a life off of YouTube. You know, I have one that's not on YouTube, but I have one that's on YouTube. You know. But just primarily, but I don't get involved in the drama. I just come on here to do education and just to kind of talk about things. But I don't even know what half that stuff they're talking about is anyway. And most of the people that are involved in the drama are so young. It's like, why do I care? They babies. Yeah, I jumped in and out of the chat on mobile, but the mobile app has been acting kind of crazy today, Terry, because I was in somebody else's live today and I got kicked out of their live like 3 times and had to go back in. So YouTube has been acting funny on the mobile, and people have been having to refresh a lot today. Because I've been in a couple of lives where it looked like it was buffering, and I don't know if it was or not. But when I jumped out and came back in, then it didn't buffer anymore. Yeah, child. Them little young boys call me grandma, so I don't even care. I'm like, that's fine, because that's probably true. I probably am a grandma to you, but I'm nobody's grandma. I'm not a grandma, you know. But man, ain't gotta worry about it. I'm like, I am also not a panther, so I'm not looking. Cause ain't nobody trying to be a teacher, and these young men are very, very disrespectful. So I can just imagine how they are toward their own mamas. They're so disrespectful. Yep. The young ladies are disrespectful too. I mean, you know, they talk to the guys any old kind of way, and the guys talk to them any old kind of way. Don't seem to be that anybody has any respect for each other. You know, it's just a game. Oh yeah, girl. I said when the little boys say something to me, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, bless your heart. you so young and stupid. You know, but I am going to end our show, you guys. I know Terry's having a little buffering problem, and hopefully whatever's going on with the mobile app isn't going on tomorrow, because it was acting crazy all day today. So you guys, I will be back on tomorrow. I might hop on in the middle of the day. Terry, you just never know. You know, I'm trying to see when they're gonna let me go on my phone. You know, the only thing is, like, when I'm working, it's harder for me to get on for more than maybe 15 minutes, but I might still do like a quick live tomorrow. Good night. 40-year-old golden girl. Well, child, then I must be a super golden girl. All right, y'all. Until tomorrow, as always, peace from the West Side. Bye, everybody.